All right, I just ran into a particular problem, which is that I'm doing a particular thing which doesn't actually seem like a good thing to do in retrospect, or like, well, that's not even the issue. So I'm going to describe the specific example of what happened. I was basically wanting to quickly eat something before I continued to work on something. And then I was kind of taking also a short break after eating and dancing to one song. And that's all fine. But then I kind of got distracted because I was going onto the channel that had the video I was dancing to, and then I watched all of the shorts that were like, I don't know, between 6 and 10 shorts that they had on that channel. And I feel like the main problem here is that this whole chain of events, what simply happened. There was no point where I questioned if this is actually the best thing for me to be doing. Like, I feel like if I had reflected briefly and that if I managed to think about it, reflect on if this is a good thing to do without falling prey to motivated reasoning, and then I decide, oh yeah, I can do this now, this is fine, then it would be fine. And I think the main problem is that I didn't have this reflective moment. So now I want to briefly think about how could I get to the point where I'm just reflexively, if I'm in this kind of situation, questioning if the thing that I'm doing is actually a good thing to be doing. Like, that's the main habit I want to think about how I can install it. But yeah, and in previous videos, like Tupper Hand video, I already talked about how habits work basically. And I feel like the main problem is basically that I have not installed the habit right now. So I wanna probably devise some sort of procedure. And I think I'm gonna use the strategy that I talked about in the video How Not to Masturbate that I did at the end for installing the actual habit. I want to probably do that again. And so the question is, what is the trigger that I want to have this situation? And what is the actual algorithm that I'm going to be executing? I think the trigger is here probably the difficult part, because what would have been the trigger there? It almost feels like I need to introduce sort of some new procedure of a thing that I'm doing that I can use as a trigger. Because this was just like I was watching the video and then I was clicking on the channel thing, and there was nothing in my brain that was tracking, oh, now I'm doing the thing where I'm clicking on the channel to look at what other things are on the channel. So like the basic dumb idea would be to, I did something similar to that in the past. Like, I could have like a pad, or actually I'm gonna get that. Like, in the past I have this sort of, it's just like a clipping thing that you can put around your neck with a pen attached and a piece of paper, and you can put on a new piece of paper once it's full, or like fold it, because it's actually a really big piece of paper. But yeah, here I would then write on what am I doing, and then sort of say the time, how long do I want to do this for? And this is supposed to like, well, you're supposed to always, then you set a timer for like that amount of time. And once the timer goes off, like you need to use this thing to write down what's the next thing that you're doing. I call this the ADHD pad, I think. And I think this actually works to some extent. And just continuing to do that might actually be pretty beneficial. But I feel like it might not have captured this failure case, because I would, but at least if I do it with a time, it seems like I should probably be more concrete. Like, this would have probably helped if I wrote down dance to one song. And like, that is the next activity that I'm going to do, like dance to one song. And I guess at first I would write down eat melon, because that's what I was doing just before I was dancing. And then after I eat the melon, then I sort of have to commit, oh, now I'm doing a new task, now I'm going to write it down. And then if I want to dance to one song, I would write down dance to one song. And sort of, if I can train myself to always sort of notice once I've done the thing that I'm doing and sort of force myself to write the next thing down each time that I'm finished with the current task, then I can imagine this might work for. But then you have a trigger point, right? Then you can be like, each time you're gonna, just before you write down something, you can reflect and think about, is this actually the best thing that you could be doing? Actually, just using this pad again seems like generally a good idea. And I'm just gonna slightly modify it, I guess, such that I will allow myself to also write down specific tasks and not, because right now I only have like, do this for X minutes. I think it's good if I can also do something like dance to one song. Though even there, I guess I could set some time limits. And I feel like this is probably also good to train to not fall prey to the planning fallacy, because, well, at least in principle, you can check sort of if, well, I guess it only works for short tasks, but if you sort of have short tasks where you estimate how long will this take, and then after your time runs out, like if you set a timer, you can check, or did you actually complete the tasks? Yeah. In the past, I have like written things like do some reflection. And then it's like, now it takes more than like 15 minutes, and I write 15 minutes, and then I like continue doing that by adding sort of more time by writing another 15 minutes. And I feel like if I were to be more specific in what the tasks are actually doing, it's like instead of writing reflection, like reflect on the specific event. Like, for example, like what I'm doing right now, reflect on this failure case where I noticed I was going off track without realizing that I was going off track. Like if I write, oh, just reflect on that, then perhaps I can like crunch down the time of the singular tasks such that I can actually estimate sort of how long the task will take. Because I think it's a bad idea to have like tasks that are like longer than 20 minutes. Well, like maybe you can do 30 minutes, but like the idea of this is like to notice when you're distracted, right? So if you have like 20 minutes and then you get distracted after 10 minutes, you will only be lost in thought or like in whatever you're doing for 10 minutes. And then you notice, then your timer goes off, like, oh, wait, I didn't actually do the thing that I wrote down. And if you do like 2 hours, then, then you won't notice until the 2 hours are over. We already spot a major failure case for this kind of setup. For example, here on the table, there's laying this counter, just a thing where you can count. And the thing is, I want to like use this to count how many reality checks I'm performing, like for lucid dreaming. And the problem is that I didn't even wear it. I wear it like a belt. And then you can like track, oh, did I do 10 reality checks or however many you want to do? And wearing this actually reminds you, because you notice, oh wait, I'm wearing this, I can do it. And probably the same with this. This like, if I'm gonna put it on in the morning and wear this the entire day, I'm pretty sure, even if I sort of sometimes forget to use it, I will at some point notice, oh wait, I have this pad. I should, I wanted to use it for this thing. Okay, now I'm going to use it. So like, I feel the biggest failure mode is probably to not put it on in the morning. Okay, I think I developed a strategy. There's a particular place where I'm always wearing a sleeping mask at night. And there's a particular place in this like shelf over here where I put it. And normally I want to put it there in the morning. And the idea is to like create a label that I can lay down at that area, and sort of switch between like what I'm wearing at night and what I'm wearing during the day. So like I'm gonna put the reality checking belt there and the ADHD pad, and well, this is when I'm like laying down, and then like in the morning, if I want to put the mask in this like labeled area, then I'm gonna notice, oh, there are these things, I should wear them, right? I feel like if I can do that consistently, that's probably good. And the good thing is that there is already a pretty good trigger for like the reality check belt, because if I'm laying down with it, I notice like, oh wait, I'm wearing this, I should not wear this, not roll onto this thing in my sleep. So normally I actually do remember to put that off always. So I'm just gonna need to remember to like put it off into the specific area. And I already like notice, like I'm pretty consistent in putting the sleep mask into that specific area already. So that should all kind of come together to, well, maybe it takes a little bit of work, but I feel like there's like, it's probably more than 50% the way already there to working. All right, I printed and laminated this, well, marker that I'm now going to glue into the appropriate area, such that I always remember where it is and see it when I'm getting up to put my sleep mask there. And the good thing is, when I'm going to go to sleep, I'm also going to put my sleep mask there, right? And then I'm going to see the items, the reality check pad and the ADHD pad, and well, then it will be obvious that, well, or rather, that's when I'm waking up, and when I'm going to sleep, I'm going to grab my sleep mask, and then I'm going to see that, oh, here's these two things I should put there. Well, that's the idea anyway. Let's see how well that works.